Years ago, I lived next to Ben, a quiet man, kept to himself on the third floor. I'm just an old neighbor now, retired, but I remember those nights he'd talk, voice shaky, about knocks, whispers. He trusted me with his story, a Valentine's tale too strange to forget. Now, by this fire, I'll tell you what he saw. Ben had called a plain Toronto apartment home since 1990. It stood as a modest box on the third floor of a tired building. Beige walls, chipped linoleum, nothing more. The elevator groaned with every trip. Hallways carried the stale whiff of cigarette smoke. Yet Ben grew accustomed to its quirks, found comfort in its simplicity. That was his life, solitary, predictable. Until Valentine's Day. 1992 arrived, shifting everything. From that night, shadows crept into his world, lingering long after. Romance never suited Ben. He lacked the flair for it. No steady girlfriend graced his life. No grand gestures marked his days. That year, a co-worker had pushed a blind date on him. Some woman from accounting, eager to pair him off. Ben brushed it aside. He had no taste for dressing up, no patience for small talk. Flowers and candlelit dinners held no appeal. Instead, he chose solitude. Stopped by the corner store, grabbed a six-pack of beer, ordered a pizza, pepperoni, extra grease. His plan was simple. Watch TV, maybe catch a hockey game. Nothing more. The apartment felt cold that evening. February in Toronto brought relentless snow. It tapped against the window, piling up outside. Ben cranked the heater, but the chill lingered. He settled onto the couch. An old, sagging thing. Pizza box sat open on the coffee table, grease soaking through the cardboard. The TV buzzed, half static. A late-night rerun flickered across the screen. Ben cracked a beer, took a swig, let the cold fizz ease him. On the counter, a red rose rested. A co-worker had tossed it his way at the office. Happy Valentine's, lonely boy, she'd teased, grinning. Ben rolled his eyes then, brought it home anyway, left it there to wilt. Snow fell thicker outside. The building creaked. Night stretched on. Ben drowsed on the couch, half lost in the TV's hum. Then it came. Around midnight, 3 slow knocks sounded on his door, heavy, deliberate. He jolted awake, beer bottle tipping. Cold liquid splashed his jeans. What the hell? He muttered. Sitting up, he rubbed sleep from his eyes. Thought it might be a neighbor. Drunk perhaps? Stumbling home from a Valentine's party? Who's there? He called. Voice hoarse, rough. No answer came, just silence. He shuffled to the door, socks sliding on the floor, peered through the peephole. Dark hallway stretched empty. Snow glowed faintly through the stairwell window. No one. Another set of knocks followed. Softer now. 3 again, like a tease. Ben's stomach tightened. He cracked the door. Chain still latched. Nothing waited outside. The hall stood dim, quiet. Then his eyes caught it. A wilted rose petal on the mat. Right at his doorstep. No footprints marked the floor. No scuff of shoes. He glanced back. The rose on his counter sat untouched, still whole. A chill ran up his spine. He slammed the door, locked it fast. Kids messing around, he told himself. Tried to laugh, but his hands stayed cold. His chest felt tight. He returned to the couch, TV static buzzing. Eyes fixed on the door. Sleep eluded Ben that night. He kept the lights burning. Ears strained for every sound. No more knocks came. No footsteps, no whispers. Morning arrived, snow still falling outside. He checked the mat. The petal had vanished. Swept away, he figured. Or maybe it was never there. He shook it off. Headed to work. Told himself it was a one-off, a fluke, nothing more. But the fluke repeated, next to Valentine's. 1993 brought it back. Midnight struck. 3 knocks echoed. Ben stayed put, watched through the peephole. Saw nothing. Morning revealed another petal. Same the next year, and the next. The pattern locked in. Every Valentine's. 3 knocks struck at midnight. A petal appeared by dawn. Ben stopped opening the door, stopped expecting answers. He asked around. Neighbors, the building's super, kept it casual. You hear anything weird last night? He'd say, shrugging like it didn't matter. Nope, they'd reply. Always the same. No one heard, no one saw. He checked old security tapes once. Grainy, useless, blank screens stared back. No proof, just his word. Years piled on. The knocks kept coming. He stopped tossing the rose from work, kept it. Wondered if it tied him to this. Last year, Ben decided to face it. He sat on the couch, lights off, beer in hand. He stared at the door. The clock ticked toward midnight. Snow tapped the window. His breath hung shallow, waiting, right on time. Knock, knock, knock. He didn't flinch, just watched. Then a whisper slid through. Ben, it said. Low, clear. His name, spoken soft. Ice shot through him. The bottle felt frigid in his grip. Breath caught. He sat rigid. Didn't move. Didn't dare. The sound faded. Silence returned. Morning came. A petal lay on the mat. Same as always. Ben stopped opening the door after that. Not on Valentine's, not ever. Those knocks echoed in his mind. That whisper lingered. Who called his name? Why him? He didn't ask anymore, didn't look for answers. The questions sat heavy, unanswered. Every February, he stayed awake. Lights stayed on, door stayed shut. He waited, tense, wondered if it would stop, or what it wanted. The rose sat on the counter, year after year, a silent witness. And so it went. Ben never opened that door again. Nights grew long, lights burned bright. I'd see him sometimes, staring out. That rose stayed, withered on his counter. Was it real? I don't know. But the knocks, the whisper, they stuck with him. Now, by this fire. I've told you his tale. What do you think waits out there? In the dark?